Hi, Piyush. How you doing?
Good, Jillian. How are you?
I'm good. Today, July 8th, 2026. Here for our monthly podcast regarding the residential real estate market in Vancouver and talking about some interest rate, mortgage forecast, stuff like that. But at the same time, we can't carry any further without mentioning what just happened in our city, which is World Cup, man. World Cup vibes all the way.
Yeah, it's been
Tell
great.
us.
Oh, it's been fun. As you can see, I'm wearing my Team
You're
Canada
wearing the
jersey.
shirt.
You know what? The city has been on a different high. Dare I say, I feel like it's better than the 2010 Olympics. Honestly,
Oh wow.
that's what it's kind of felt like. Possibly because this is during the summertime. That was during the winter. So different times, and you have to do different kinds of things, right?
I
So
can share. I can share something with you. I've been traveling quite a bit in my life. Some very 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 nice places. Vancouver is my number one, and beyond and above that is Vancouver in the summertime. Can be
unbeatable,
beat, man. That's it.
unbeatable.
It's it's just Vancouver, BC in the summer is just it.
It is, and you know what? It We are not technically a known soccer nation, right? Football nation, but
Hmm.
everybody has gone into it. Me and a lot of my friends are into it. Like this right here, Team Canada jersey. We got to meet Alfonso Davies,
No
and
way.
this right here, that's the autograph on the jersey.
Oh my goodness. Good for
Yeah,
you.
man, it's just been incredible. So it's just like it's a whole different
Did
level.
you go to any games?
Yeah, I went to the Belgium New Zealand game.
Nice.
Yeah, so to be I knew somebody who was selling the tickets, and they luckily sold it to me at cost, at what they bought it for.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're
Oh
hearing
yeah,
from
yeah.
other people they're paying quite a bit more. So we were so lucky. I was able to get two tickets. Me and my friend jumped on it right then, and my God, that was a good game. We got to do the whole walking in with the Belgium fans. We just happened to be there. We're like, okay, we're gonna support Belgium in this game,
And they
and
won.
so they won. And now look at them. They just
Yeah,
beat the U.S. They're going in so far. So definitely a good game to have gone to, and a good team to support.
quite some drama happening at this edition of the World Cup.
Every time there was a hydration break, everybody was just booing. So it starts with the hydration break, and then you have all these other controversies that are popped up, with the whole Egypt Argentina game, the whole overturning of a certain red card by FIFA. So
Yeah, yeah. It's still going. No more games in Vancouver. But still now the quarterfinals with some exciting games on the way. So
yeah,
let's see. Who do you think is gonna take it?
all the way.
Yeah.
Oh man, everybody keeps saying France. Honestly, I hope Norway ends up, because like I've
Yeah.
become a huge fan of Arlen Holland. Oh my God, that guy is just like he. It's amazing to watch that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like Norway has been performing really, really well, including in the qualifying stage, leading to the World Cup. They are some of the best track record, and I can see them going maybe all the way. They're 110, 120, 150%. Because it's France.
Yeah,
So when you're being expected, it's not the same as Norway. Like you don't see them coming.
yeah. Do you mind if I
Yeah,
share pictures on
go for
here?
it.
That's Mr. Alfonso Davies right there. I'm getting my
What a player.
jersey signed, and now let's go to the next
Whitecaps
one.
original.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, right? Alfonso Davies is there because of Whitecaps, and we know the drama with Whitecaps. So this
Yes.
is me partying with some Belgians before we go in. There's our science world covered in the FIFA as a FIFA soccer ball.
Yeah.
This is it at night. This was after the game.
Nice.
And this is inside.
It. This is it.
Look at that
Nice
roof.
guy.
Too bad it was
Yeah.
closed, but it was still an amazing atmosphere. Like I've been to a BC place many times. Like honestly, this felt different.
Nice.
So, all the criticism that FIFA receives, one thing I will say, they do a great job of managing. They did a fantastic job. So here's the Belgian flag, and this is the New Zealand flag. It was
Okay.
such a great atmosphere, to be honest. It was amazing.
Nice. All right, let's get going and start
All
to
right.
talk about some residential real estate for our beautiful town. And want to start with some news that shook the real estate world in June, and I think you'd agree to say that the news about the Feds coming in and to scoop 2,200 units of the 5,000 units available and sitting empty has been driving quite a lot of comments. And what's your comment?
I totally am against it. I
Okay.
think that it is. So I'll go in a little bit deeper into it. So yes, when we talk about this, when I heard about that, the actual announcement, I think that's bad for buyers. It's good for developers, even though they're saying that it's getting bought out at construction cost price or whatever. There are certain things they should be doing instead. But I don't want to preempt you. So continue with the thought process, and I'll introduce an idea after that. Because if I say something right now, it's going to change the trajectory of the conversation. So I don't want to do that.
No. I mean, like, I have my own views, and it's never easy to kind of like comment one way or another. Those guys,
Yeah.
they have a lot of data. They're trying to do their best. I at least I hope. To the best of my understanding, the general public understood this move as a bailout to developers. I'd
Yeah.
like to take it a nudge further. I think banks are involved. I think some of the because of the, again, there are about 5,000 units sitting empty out there. They're scooping 2,200s out. How are they going to be choosing the ones that they're going to be buying? I think they're going to be looking at who's the lender.
Mhm.
And if the lender is a big five, or at least a Canadian lender, they're going to be prioritizing those ones. So I think it's also, I don't want to call it bailout, but it's also like a nice little help from the Feds to developers and the bank and the construction workers that needs to be paid as well. Okay. To what extent this is unfair competition to mom and pops or first time home buyers, it is certainly unfair competition because they are not paying property transfer tax, they are not paying GST. Okay. And
Well, I mean, GST is removed anyways, since these are brand new construction. Since they're a brand new construction, and if it would be a regular first-time home buyer, the 5% GST would not be paid if they were to sign the contract now.
Is it the first time that they're buying real estate? No. So it's a I think it's a bold statement saying that GST. I mean, it's the government, so they're not going to be paying tax. Okay?
Yeah, so the government will not. But what I'm saying is that the buyers that are out there right now, majority of them have been first-time home buyers, so they would not have paid the GST.
Yeah, and property transfer tax. But okay.
Correct.
And then I have other questions like, what is the price per square foot they're buying it at? How is it going to be managed from a strata property act point of view? Are they going to be, who are they going to be paying property tax? Are they going to be, contributing towards the CRF contribution reserve funds? How are they going to be voting for repair and maintenance of the building? Like there is a lot of questions coming with that move. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because the talks about it is they want to turn into social housing, correct?
No, they could, and that's my point. Okay, so they're turning it into lease to own, to the best of my understanding, because when those kind of even themselves they will do that move. They don't really know how it's going to unfold all the way, but lease to own, which on paper sounds good. Needs to be put in practice. If it works, why isn't it more popular? Okay, and then social housing. Let's go back to that. So basically, right now we're witnessing kind of like the federals and the provincial government kind of like mingling together to kind of buy 2,200 units. Okay, cool. We need to highlight the fact that we live in a housing crisis region. Okay, from purchasing a property to renting a property, it's challenging. Okay, it's not like any other place in the world. I mean, like, it's one of those few places in the world where it's like very hard. And I'm like, all right, what can you do for the people? What can you do for society to contribute in a good way to make society go round? Okay, and if I let my imagination kind of like stumble forward, I'm like, okay, what could you do that could make a dent for the better? All right, so in my opinion, essential services, policemen, firemen, nurses, doctors, teachers, garbage collectors, city workers, building workers, trades, all the people, are fundamentals, essential to a society that do need to be involved, but cannot, because they those people usually don't have like significant wage, and it's particularly hard for them to service the people that live here, you know what I mean, and that potentially have better from other income source or whatnot.
Some of them have to live like it's very typical if you want to have a freehold, like if you want to have a home and not live in a strata unit, you have to live a little further out, right? You're living out there in Langley. Some are even pushing out there. So, because otherwise those people are, fairly compensated. It's just that the cost of living in Vancouver is pretty high even for them. So then,
and housing is number one.
Correct. So people make decisions based on their affordabilities and their family needs, right? So people want that backyard, especially if somebody has kids.
Yeah, well, that's another layer of the kids of of society. And so I was like, I think those people, they deserve a cut, of higher tax, because they do look after society as a whole, right? So right now, what they're gonna do? Lend to lease to own, or like
rent to own, RTO.
Yeah, rent to own, or so-called cap rent or market rent. But market rent, like a one bedroom is 2,500. Like, you're not gonna come across a 100 one bedroom for 1,200, or like something that would be significantly below fair, below what's the actual rent right now. So yeah, I mean, like a lot of uncertainty or on how all of this is and its implication. At the end of the day, there is a lot of units out there sitting empty, and still, even though the federals is buying 2,200 of them, there are still 3,000 remaining and more to come.
Yeah. So I mean, it's what they've announced, but they haven't really gone through with it yet, right? So they've announced it. So this is the idea that I was mentioning earlier. I think it would be much foreign buyer ban, right? The foreign buyer ban is up for renewal in 2027.
I don't think it's going to be renewed.
Correct. And I think that removing that is a much better solution than using taxpayer funds to buy out all these units. And one of the reasons, fundamental reasons the foreign buyer ban was introduced was to make sure that there's enough housing supply that's available for people who live here, because those guys were buying up the properties and they would never live in them. So that's why we have the empty homes tax.
Yeah.
In the city of Vancouver and the province of British Columbia. Then on top of that, we have an anti-flipping tax. So if you purchase a home, I can't remember if that was provincially or if,
It's 2 years.
Do you know if it's provincial or is it federal?
It's provincial.
It's provincial. So in the first 2 years, if you buy a property and if you sell it, in the first year you pay 20% tax, and the second year you pay 10 years. After that, there's no anti-flipping tax. So I think
of the capital gain.
Yes. So it's an additional on top of the capital gains tax that you would pay.
It's like this mismatch. Sorry, I'm in France right now, so it's getting dark. I'm switching on the light. That's why I'm looking at this like ghost. So yeah, it's going all over the place. On one hand, they want to keep the units for Canadians, for working class, and so on, and then all of a sudden, they prevent the market from having prices going down any further. Mm-hmm. Which, it's government intervention. I mean, who am I? Who are we to say, yeah, it's good, it's bad, or this or that? We just commenting, observing with what we know, and we don't, I don't think we hold the truth. But I had a much stronger opinion about the first time they implemented the foreign buyer tax, the 15% in 2016. Complete. It was a vote grab. Simple as that. It didn't solve anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's what governments do, right? It's politicians. They're going according to what the polls are, what the people want. Mm-hmm. That's what they're supposed to do. I think reversing the foreign buyer ban would be a much better solution than this bailout, and to manage some expectations, because a lot of people are because this is going to create those same sentiments again about foreign buyers coming in and buying up all available condos. Let's assume we have 5,000 units and 5,000 foreign buyers coming in and sweep everything up, and the prices are going to go up. So to avoid that situation, what the government, this is just my opinion, what they should limit them is to the higher end units. Like you have to, if you want to buy something, it has to be like $1 million above or $750,000. So that way it doesn't affect the first time home buyers, because
Indeed.
They are the ones who are vulnerable.
It's the working class, that have access through their savings and financial situation and the applicable rate they can come across. They're gonna be, looking at a property like, let's say, max $2 million. So anything below $2 million, foreign buyer ban. Anything above, okay, have the high net worth come over with the money, have the, contribute to the economy, local economy, go to restaurants, go to party, I don't know, buy cars, I don't know. But yeah, I agree. Something like that would be a bit more thought out than just like a flat out foreign buyer ban, or flat out foreign buyer tax. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think it could be polished a little bit more so that everybody could find some benefit as a whole. And we'll see. But you see, right now, if they remove the foreign ban, given the actual situation of the Canadian dollar that's been weakening lately, and the fact that prices dropped, well, some foreign entity with some, cash aside, they're going to look at it and say, "Oh my goodness,
Cheap.
sounds like look like a deal."
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll keep on doing the podcast to let our audience know about any further developments and comment on those developments and their impact on the market. So let's keep moving, because in the meantime, it's still challenging for most people to live in BC. As simple as that. So first quarter of 2026, we lost 12,000 people. 12,000 people. So you're shaving some of that demand. So and how is that going to impact everything else? I'm not sure, but this trend is carrying on. So, do you have any comment about that?
I don't know. It like, where are these people going? That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Good question. Not a better place. Can be.
Exactly.
Can be. All right, let's dive in our usual stat. So let me see. I want to do it. Let's do it this way, because we have access to quite a bit of analytics. By doing it this way, you see, like, we see the evolution of the total inventory. That's what we're looking at right now. So total inventory equals the offer. The offer is still very high. It's still, hovering up there, coming down slowly but surely. We'll see to what extent it comes down. We're still at, if we compare from June 2026 to June 2025, it's a 7.5% increase. Okay. So still a fair amount of inventory, and it's sitting at 30% above the 10-year average. So still quite a bit of inventory out there for the buyer. And then buyers, so if you look at the number of sales, have been more active on a month-over-month situation, where there's been more purchase, more transaction this month and in May. But at the same time, keep in mind, we are still very, very, very low. We're still very low. We're still, very far from what it could be. We're sitting 10% below the 10-year average, and we're still 6.1% from 2025, from June 2025 to June 2026. So 2026 will be, no doubt, the worst year since 2000 in terms of volume of sales. I mean, unless something crazy happens and then we see like double the sales for some reason until the second half of the year. We'll see. We don't have the crystal ball. But I think there's a lot of pending demand, even though people are leaving the province as a whole. I think there is a lot of people that still have a real estate project in their cards, and to the extent that they can find what they're looking for in terms of fulfilling their needs and within their budget, they'll go for it. And I think, going back to the good old rules of price evolution, as Adam Smith explained, the invisible hand will adjust the price according to the supply and the demand. And that's why we look at the market this way, right? Supply, demand. So looking at the price evolution, which is, in my opinion, the most interesting of all those data, because you would believe that prices drop, okay, quite a bit, but they don't. At the same time, I want to apply a bit of caution regarding those stats, because depending on where you look, you have different numbers. And when you look at the HPI for GVR, it doesn't look like much of a drop from the peak. When in other, like if you look on Korea, for instance, we are 20% of the peak prices, and here there's really not 20% of the peak prices. So to take with a pinch of salt, we are trading like, lower than we did previously, and that is not changing so far. We are the minus 5% from last year. It's not alarming, but it's when you apply inflation to this, because it's not inflation adjusted. When you do inflation adjusted, then it becomes to a lower figure. That's what maybe is the discrepancy between the two data. But prices are trading lower. So basically, as the prices are trading lower, more of that demand is seeing an opportunity to realize their real estate project. Do you agree with that, Piyush?
Yeah, 100%.
Very good. You have a story for us? Did you see another house with your family that you are ready for? No, I think
what I will say with this is, with the prices dropping and the amount of inventory that's available, people are taking their time shopping.
Yeah.
So people are out there buying, but you have the luxury of being able to see 20, 30, 40 properties if you wish to do so.
Indeed. I mean, like, it was already, the thing is, before, if we look at those time, for instance, from start of COVID times, where you could take the time to see 20, 30 houses, it's not the problem. You can still take that time, but at the same time you're doing this, prices are going up and you're missing the boat. Right? So here, and I've seen it firsthand, okay? 2016, 2015, 16, you're seeing a property and you're like, I'm not so sure. I want a den, or I want another exposure, I want, a gym, or, it's never perfect. It's never perfect. Let's be clear. Never perfect. But so that's why you need to have a clear understanding of the priorities you have for you and your family.
Exactly.
And then make it work this way. And by being clear, you're going to be able to fulfill your real estate project better and to save money. So I've seen it, like, when the market is bursting, I call it like a burst in prices, at least, and volumes. You see it, and then the property, like, let's say you look for a 2-bedroom. I've seen it, like, I was helping, and you see a 2-bedroom. Oh, this bedroom, blah, 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 is too small, blah, blah, blah. 6 months later, but 2 bedrooms at the price that you were approved for are no longer available. Simple as that. So now, buyers are being paid to wait. Prices are coming down.
Yeah.
You wait, you're going to save money. So why rush? So find something that really works for you. Motivated buyer is looking for a motivated seller. It's how I like to put it. And it's true, right?
And what it gives you to do is it gives you your time and ability to do your due diligence.
Very true.
Because we now have the recession period clause in there, 7 days. So
the rescission, that's for pre-sale.
Oh, that's only for pre-sale?
Yeah, you do have a form of rescission, but it's been
Okay, so we won't get into that. So my point was
let's be clear, because I think our audience wants clarity. Okay, so when you're buying a pre-sale, between the time that you do the first signature and the time you actually make the first payment, or depending on how it's structured, you have 7 days rescission period. 7 days so basically it's called REDMA, Real Estate Development Marketing Act, which plans that you have, no matter what, 7 days to basically back out, no questions asked. You change your mind, that's it. You don't want to buy this unit anymore. You go to your developer, you fill up the the written form, and that's it. Okay. But on the 8th day, if you didn't do that, you're on the hook. You're buying that place. And if not, you're being sued. Okay.
I see.
So
Okay.
now we're clear. So what happened is that during those time when there is a market burst in prices and volumes, buyers need to package their offer accordingly to basically beat the competition. Okay, or that we can call the other buyers. So on one property, it was not uncommon to have a DRPO. We call it DRPO, which is a direction regarding offer presentation, which establishes a date and time at which buyer are invited to present their offer if they want to do so. So what happened is that when you're doing it because you like the property and it fulfills your real estate project, you're not the only one, and you're fighting against other buyers. So in order to package accordingly and optimize your offer in order to get the property, you would, depending on how the real estate professional, realtor, or buyer instructs the contract to be written, the subjects are being waived. Okay, so that so basically now in the resale market, okay, because pre-sale market, one is REDMA, resale market, RESA, Real Estate Service Act. Okay, so in the resale market, you didn't have a rescission period to the extent that the seller accepted the offer where there was no condition and the deposit check was submitted and being cashed by the buyer's brokerage. The deal is done.
Yeah, at that point
You're
it's too
buying
late.
that thing.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to, and now you are going the court system, and it's lengthy and it's pricey and it's stressful. So what happened is they changed that to implement a rescission period for the resale market, which is structured as such. If you write a subject-free contract with a deposit check, you have 3 business days, very important, 3 business days to change your mind. And if you do so, you'll be paying 0.25% of the agreed price. Okay? Which I never been in a situation where my buyer told me, oh, I changed my mind. I'm going to be paying, let's say, the property is $1 million. I'll pay $2,500 to the seller within those 3 business days. And again, no questions asked. You just pay and you're good to go. All right?
Yeah.
We're clear? Any questions? Cool. So, yeah. But since now there is no rush, because when you're going to come on a property before, so that's the thing, right? Like before in 2020, 2021, you were, as a buyer, you were fighting with other buyers. So now in 2026, most likely, I mean, we still see those situations, DRPOs, okay? We'll still see those happening, but much less. And usually it's when you're a buyer, it's you have the choice, and basically the sellers are now competing with other sellers. Right? That's
It's very rare that you get into a multiple offer situation. I've heard multiple offer situations in this market.
yes.
Must be one heck of a property, but it's
so I need to clarify this. So it's a strategy. Okay, it doesn't matter of the property. Is that what matters is the motivation of the seller, the situation of the seller, the project of the seller. Okay, he wants to sell the property. Part of the strategy is that you list the property below its fair market value. Okay, and then by doing such, you're going to attract potentially motivated buyers that are going to come over and make an offer at what they believe the fair market value is, which is slightly above what we established as the list price. Okay, let's recap. We have 3 prices: list price, fair market value, and then purchase price. Those are 3 different prices. Okay,
yeah.
So let's say we have $1 million property. Okay, and then the seller is saying, okay, I need to sell this place. All right, so you're saying, okay, Let's list it at 850, well below its fair market value. Ask for the offers to be presented on the 15th of the month at 2 p.m. And then to the extent that it appeals to certain buyers, they're going to come over and say, okay, well, 850, that's a really good deal. And actually, even at 900, it's a good deal. Okay. So the $1 million is kind of like the hovering price, like the people that, the price that the people or the seller have in their mind kind of thing, right? It doesn't mean it's the fair market value. It doesn't mean it's going to be the transactional price. It just means that it's a price, that has been in the mind of the seller, or the neighbor sold that price a year and a half ago. Okay, so then you list the price of 850, and then you have two buyers, and one comes in at 9, one comes in at 930. The seller says, okay, I'll take the 931, or maybe it says I'll take the 901 because the date works better for me and there are no subjects. That's it. That's how it goes. So the DRPO strategy doesn't necessarily involve a market that is like bursting or falling. It means that you're looking at a set time for the most motivated. You show yourself as a motivated seller, and you're looking for the most motivated buyer out there. That's it, and that's great. This tool is available. It's a great strategy. It's fantastic because in other markets,
great for the seller for sure. In this market,
it can be great for the buyer too, because you see the buyer, if we go back to that example, 900, 930, but the 931, you had subject to financing, you had subject to, I'm not sure, plus dates 6 months from now. And the seller's like, no, I want to sell like in a month. Mm-hmm. I'll go with 901. It was no condition, and that's it. That's the reality of what we do. Another thing I wanted to say is, what do I want to say? It's great. It's great for both. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say is you can list in Canada. You can list and still. You can list the property on the MLS with a brokerage, and still don't accept a price if it comes at list price or above. You don't have to accept as a seller, right? Yeah. In France, you list a property in a brokerage at a certain price, let's call it 1 million. The buyer comes in, sees the property, writes a check for 1 million. There is no turning back. This property is sold.
Oh,
yes, sir. Okay, so different cultures, different countries, different practices. It's a matter of knowing them and what's possible and what's not. Okay, so going back to the price evolution, it's trending lower. We'll see. Potentially, you'll tell us about the evolution of the interest rate, but right now, I think we're going to be grinding sideways for a bit more time, or slightly declining, and slightly going up again. Like we shouldn't expect big move from price.
I would have said that, but then now we have news that Iran and United States have gone back to attacking each other. Mm-hmm. And Iran is attacking all other Middle Eastern countries. So we're back to square one. Gas prices have shot back up. We're wondering why it was like a liter of gas was $1.92. If nobody knows, here in BC, we pay ridiculous for our gas. Julian wouldn't know because he drives an electric.
No, but I look at it because it's important. I do I do drive electric. I don't want, and part of why I drive electric, I mean, like for sustainable reasons, even though it's controversial and so on. But I don't want to be taken as an hostage and show up to the gas station and having to pay that price that somebody somewhere in the world said or did something that now I have to pay like $150 to go somewhere. No,
I know.
Right?
And then on the other side, you have me. I want to drive my V6. I will pay the premium gas.
Okay, so let's go back to the price of gas in Vancouver. So price of gas in Vancouver is outrageous, right? Like let's call it $2 a liter.
Yeah. So yeah, you can
here in France, we're talking €2 a liter.
Holy cow!
So which equals
What, almost $3?
$3.2 a liter. And people don't want to drive electric. I know.
Luckily in France and in Europe in general, the distances are shorter. You have better public transit and you have better train network that are transnational, right?
People spend their life in their cars, and it's just pay like 100 euros, 150 euros to fill up the tank. That's the reality. They're like, no, like the story about no. Vancouver has great public transport system. I used to go to open house when I started by bus and SkyTrain. IKEA bag, my open house signs, and off you go. You can do it. I did it.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, whenever I go downtown, like with the whole FIFA celebrations, I am usually driving to a SkyTrain station, and I'm taking the train down. It's just much easier, much more convenient.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So we have so what I had prepared, I'll show you guys.
Let me finish with one thing, which is the price per square foot for condo in Vancouver in the resale market.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, no, I just have that one last. I think stat which is relevant to our audience because it drives a fair amount of volumes of transaction in our market. So if we look at that. And it has been trading slightly lower from last month. It was 993, and now it's 989, and it's minus 5.4% from last year. Okay, so nothing too dramatic, not like any crash or anything. Like the real estate, from a year-over-year perspective, it didn't go through any crash. Most likely from the whole. Depending on the property and the location, definitely there was some peak, for the high-end market, like West Vancouver, West Side, high-end properties downtown, penthouses, and so on. That market is, in my opinion, what has been suffering the most, with some, peak to today, we've seen drops like 20, 30, 40% to some extent.
And this is for all property types, correct?
No, like like the particular one I'm showing right now.
The 989.
Sorry. Yeah, the 989 is for condo in Vancouver.
Condos. Okay, that's what I want.
Municipality in the resale market.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
Okay, so and then before I actually let me end you the floor with the following chart and ask your opinion about it. Did you see that one come through? I didn't really understand it.
The 10-year bond yield now sits
below the US.
Since 15, US net debt has been narrowing the. Oh, I should probably read that out loud. Since 2015, US net debt has risen over 90% of GDP, narrowing the gap with Canada and reversing the difference in 10-year bond yields between the two countries. And then you see what's in the yellow.
So red is Canada, the blue is the US debt, and then the those little columns are the Canada US 10-year bond yield differential.
10-year bond yield differential.
Like since 2020, the differential is to the benefits of
decades in which
with the debt of the US,
and
the evolution of the inflation and how they treat it, kind of thing.
Correct, and this makes perfect sense. Even though in Canada we complain about our cost of interest of borrowing when we're buying a home, it's much worse in the States. What we pay for private mortgages here in Canada, in the States, that's their normal bank rates. So private rates right now at the moment.
Okay. Oh my God, what are you saying?
Are as low as private mortgages. So private mortgages are interest only payments. You're not paying any principal, and typically 1 year term. You have to after that you have to renew it, or you pay it out, or you get another private mortgage, or you sell the property. At 50% loan to value, so let's say your home is worth $1 million, you borrowed $500K, you're looking at somewhere 6%. That's the lowest rate that's available right now for a private mortgage. That is the typical bank rate in the States.
Okay, we need to kind of like provide some details here, because
Bank
over
would be
there,
like Bank of America. So that's your typical A lender loan. What
okay,
most
a
people
lender
call.
6%, but okay, so here again, different countries, different cultures, different practices. In the
Yes.
US,
Mhm.
let me ask you this: is the term equal the amortization?
Sorry, say it again.
Is the term equals the amortization of your mortgage?
Not
Yes, it
in
is.
Canada. Yeah, so Canada can
So in
be.
the US, it does.
Yeah,
The US, it does. Even if it's 6%, you sign for 30 years. For 30 years, you're going to be
that's
paying the
correct.
same monthly for 30 years.
Correct.
Okay. So, which in the end,
Hmm. And I think that was the typical reason why the longer term debt in the US is cheaper, because you have that certainty, versus here in Canada,
you
even
have
though
you have that certainty, and that's how you beat the inflation.
correct. So and then as you were saying, so here in Canada, you can have 25-year amortization to 30-year amortization, but your terms can vary between 3 and 5 years, and every 3 and 5 years,
You're back.
you're renewing or you're switching to a different lender. So it's a much more of a short-term market. So that's why typically we saw our interest rate to be higher, because that's the norm. Shorter term, higher the interest rate. Because it gives you the ability to be more flexible, and you're switching and you're taking advantage of a lower rate when the renewal comes up. So that's pretty typical.
Again, it's not. It's part of the industry but it's not my. It's your jam, right? I'm here as a observer, but I find this like very to the benefit of the banks. And matter of fact, when you look at it, Canadian families, households, are some of the most indebted in the G20, and the banks are having fantastic financial results. To who benefits the crime? The banks.
Yes, there's that, but then Canadian banks are much better regulated than the American and European banks. As you remember from the 2008 financial crisis, we saw the American and European banks take the bigger hit. Canadian banks were much better. I think we did not have
Yeah,
any banks
they
go under.
hardly took any hit.
Yeah, so no
But there was also,
Canadian bank
wasn't
went
there
under.
any government intervention?
In Canada?
Yeah.
No,
I
I
think,
don't. I
to the
don't
best
believe
of
there
my
was any
understanding and
bailouts.
memory,
There were. Sorry,
there was
there was a bailout in the auto sector in conjunction with the U.S., but I don't believe there was any bailouts for Canadian banks. I can't remember.
to be double check, and it goes back to our first
Actually, you're
topic
right.
of
No.
the day.
There was. You're sorry. Hold
Exactly.
on.
It goes back
There,
to the first topic of the day, which was the government intervention in scooping up 2,200 units. And the thing is, they don't let the market breathe as it should. Because if you look back in the US, okay, in 2008, it crashed. I mean, it was terrible and so on, but then, it went back up. And some people took the risk to buy at some, high risky point.
mm-hmm.
And they made money with it. I mean, I remember a guy in 2008, like I remember a friend from business school. He was buying hand over fist properties, condos in Miami. My God, you're crazy. Because the market, it got crashed hard there, hard. And now look at the prices. Like, it took a hit in the last few years, but it's recovered like crazy. So the thing is, government intervention and market regulation is kind of like distorts everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus we know that the Canadian real estate market is some of the most highly valued in the world. Again, I'm just like, an observer. I'm trying to piece it all. You know what I mean? But
We all.
yes, yes, indeed, sir. What else do you have for us?
Okay, so now let me switch over here. Okay. Here is the screen that you guys are all familiar with. This is something I always bring up, the Canada 5-year bond yield. This is where it is sitting at today. As
Okay.
mentioned earlier, the war that has restarted between the United States and Iran has pushed the bond yields up. Before that, we were seeing a reduction. I'd say more of a bit of a flattening out
Mm-hmm.
of the bond yield that determines the
Can
fixed
you
rates.
can you increase the length of the chart to a
Yeah.
year, please? Okay.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
why I call it a bit more of a flattening out, because if you want to see low point was back here in March.
Mm-hmm.
That was the perfect time, and this is before this war started, right? Because now I can't believe it. This is what, 3 months in, and this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So up and down, up
And
and down,
right
up and
now
down.
the oil is trading at $73 a barrel. So
73
we went,
bucks.
yeah, we
Okay.
were like kind of like $100 a barrel, and then
Yeah.
now we went to 65. We're now 73. Phew.
Yeah. So this is the uncertainty that we're talking about, but to be honest, this has been the norm for the last three months.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to keep the interest rates pretty much where they are right now. Um, when it comes to the fixed rates, okay, we're going to see these minor fluctuations, and at the end, I think you might see 5 bips higher, 5 bips lower, but in reality, it's flat. When it comes to um, variable rates, that is determined by the Bank of Canada. They had an announcement recently, that was last month, June 10th. They, oh, I forgot to switch over. There
All
we
right.
go. So the last announcement by Bank of Canada was June 10th. And as you can see, so this is the overnight rate, and they
Yeah.
kept everything the same. There was no
Mm-hmm.
change that was made.
Mm-hmm.
The last time the Bank of Canada made any changes were back in September and October of 2025. That's where we saw 2 consecutive
Drop.
um, rate drops. The
So
next,
now,
mm,
so now, since October 2025, we have been on the 225
steady.
percent of rate, and ultimately, to the best of my understanding, we might be staying at 225 for the next couple of meetings.
So here's the thing. So now we have an announcement this month. So
Okay.
next Wednesday. Today is July the 8th, so July 15th. That is the next announcement. And we were actually expecting a rate drop. The
Because
reason
of
for that, mhm.
because of why?
So the reason for that is, believe it or not, the Kuzma non-renewal.
Oh,
Uh, yes. So Kuzma non-renewal. So as you guys know, before this was the NAFTA agreement. Trump administration came in, then they,
US, Canada, Mexico.
yeah, US, Canada,
Heard of
Mexico.
it.
They renamed it and they negotiated a bunch of things. And now they have said that they will not be extending it beyond 2036. And once because as part of the new agreement, once they say that we will not be extending it, it opens it up to an annual review. So every year, pretty much they have to see if this will if they will continue this or not, because it gives them the ability to get out of it as well. So I'm just going to read this off. The U.S. President's decision not to extend the CUSMA agreement beyond 2026, subjecting it to an annual joint review instead, removes a key pillar of trade certainty for the Canadian economy. This was flagged by the Bank of Canada as a key downside risk, and its materialization reinforces the case for Bank of Canada's next move being a rate cut. The reason for that is, so if I put in a bit more simpler terms, the downside effect that it said, because it's going to hurt the Canadian economy. We're already in a technical recession. This will push this into an actual recession. And what the Bank of Canada policy, what these policy announcements are supposed to do, is it's supposed to manage recession, is manage to the inflation rate, and it will encourage them to. Let me finish my sentence. It will encourage the Bank of Canada to drop the rate to increase economic activity.
Okay. Well, so when you say yearly review,
annual review,
yeah, meaning, because so what I don't get is like 2036 is the term of the agreement. After that, we're in the dark. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you say annual review, what does that mean? It means like
I'm gonna look that up.
Like we need to talk about the different tariff that we're gonna apply to each other every year, or what?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. So by 2036, something needs to happen. I mean, maybe not.
Okay, so what it does, it becomes subject to annual negotiations.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
That's what
we're going to be talking tariff every year. Basically, we're going into like a annual term here. The tariff Canada is going to apply to Mexico, to the US, and vice versa.
Yeah, and then it also says, or it runs the risk, because you have runs the risk of eventual termination if one of the countries gives a 6-month notice to withdraw. So that was part of the negotiation that Trump did when he introduced CUSMA, because NAFTA pretty much didn't really have like a way out. It's just like it was pretty much ongoing. Yes, they had those long terms, and then every time the renewal came, but they were longer term. Like this one is 2036, so nothing would be renegotiated in between that. Now what they have done is that by saying that we're not going to extend it, it opens up to annual review, and then if they can't come to an agreement, here's our 6 months notice, we'll be one out of it, and all it takes is one party to do so.
Okay. Thank you. That was good. Piyush.
Okay, so this is the new norm.
You saying it doesn't make you the bad guy. We won't shoot the messenger.
Yeah,
but that's very valuable to know.
Exactly. So what does it mean for the viewer who is looking to buy? This is the new reality, right? These kind of fluctuations are going to continue to happen. We've been facing new threats, new issues year after year. At the end of the day, when you're looking to purchase, what you should do is look at, like, can I afford this? Is this well within your budget? Are you stretching your budget to buy the home, or you are getting something that makes you're making it comfortable payments? Like, yes, I can afford to make this payment, and then I have, so much left over for my savings. That is how you should be approaching a market like this, where you have uncertainty about the interest rates, uncertainty about the economy. You are properly planning, properly budgeting your purchases. And as Julian mentioned, with all these charts and everything, you have the ability to go out there and look at many properties, shop around, and you have the ability to negotiate. Prices are coming down. You are technically getting paid to wait. What a smart buyer would do is go in there and negotiate for that price drop that's going to happen, right? Is that a strategy what you could potentially use?
Again, you need to work with somebody that needs to cut through the value of the property you're looking at and establish if the lease price is somehow in line with what could be a fair market value, and then negotiate from there. Or maybe that seller is particularly motivated, and then it dropped it, or the seller is disconnected and the value is up there. Or maybe he sees the value from another standpoint, which is not the case for your buyers, and then it's not worth going forward.
Yeah.
So not all list prices, again, list price, fair market value, transactional price are three different prices. Okay. And there is no regulation about list prices.
Right? Exactly. And that's where you would come in and you would negotiate the price.
That's where you need the realtor to come in and say, okay, well, that list price is out of whack, or okay, well, that list price, like we can start a negotiation, knowing that at this particular price it makes sense to acquire the property in the actual market dynamic.
Exactly. And how do you determine fair market value, Julian?
Fair market value is usually the recent sales, similar properties in a similar area, and then looking at the characteristic, and then you fine tune with the characteristic of the property. Depending on the type of property, you're looking also at if it's a strata property or if it's a detached home, you will be looking into this. So it takes a lot of fine tuning to be able to kind of like establish a value at which, like it's a fair market value, and below that, it's a good deal. Above that, it's like, okay, well, you buying it, above it. But for some reason, if it makes sense for your project because X, Y, Z, well, at least you know that you're overpaying for it. You know what I mean? That's how I work. So, that's the story.
Yeah. So keeping in mind from what we mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, where the government, the federal and provincial government and British Columbia have announced this plan to purchase 2,200 units. And if they go through with that plan, that's going to reduce the amount of inventory that's available in the market. And when you reduce supply and the demand is you still have the same amount of people who are in demand, what does it do? It increases the price.
Pressures on prices.
Yeah. So taking the strategy of waiting for the price to drop can go against you when you have all these other things in the news. So the smart buyer makes a plan, comes up with a budget, goes out there and negotiates and gets that property now. Because we never know when we're in the bottom of the market. You only find out after it's over, like, oh yeah, that's when I should have bought, right? How many people who would kick themselves into, like, oh, I should have bought in, between 2008 and 2010. Properties were cheap.
I mean, like, yeah, no, for sure. Usually it's a mindset. I see it because I do it first. It's my job. And from seller and buyers, it's a mindset. And the mindset of some buyers out there, and I tell it to some of my buyers even, I've been working with for some of them for nearly 2 years, and I tell them, you will not be buying real estate, flat out. And they're like, oh, why are you saying that? Because you will not. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it happening, because like if you focus and then you have the ones are like, okay, they have a project, they're determined, and you need to be determined. And then you need it. Okay. I'm sorry, but not sorry for what I'm gonna say. The dream property doesn't exist. Okay. What you're doing is you're leveraging a financial situation that you acquire through your job and your savings to access a mortgage. And with that amount of money, you're going to put it to invest, to buy the best property you can with the need you have. That's your dream property.
Yeah. If you really want that dream property, what you would do is that you would build that equity, you create savings, and then you come to me after a few years, and we get you a construction mortgage, and you build your dream property. That's the only way to
Not
get.
even, Pierce. I'm telling you this. Not even. What
No,
is your
no,
dream property? Okay.
I disagree with that.
No,
It'll
Pierce,
take a lot of
I see
capital.
firsthand. When you build your own property, you need to sacrifice some aspect. There are always things. If you ask me about my dream property, it's gonna be, like we're talking about dream property. No, seriously.
Right. So
No.
first requirement is capital. You need money for it,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly. But
that's
you
what
need money, but you're just gonna get the money you have, or you can leverage through lending, through because of your financial situation, because of the job that you have, okay, and the wages that you make. All right. That is for most people, okay, the working class, their situation. Okay. The dream property, and even okay, I won't get there, but even when you build your own property, you're going to be limited to the amount of money you can allocate to the construction of it. And that's it. And you're going to be sacrificing so much when, like from the type of facade to the tile of the floor, of the windows, of the roof, of the landscaping, like the dream property again is the type of property that you can, the best type of property that you can access with leveraging your financial situation. That's it. That's your dream property. Okay, that's your dream property. A dream property has a pool. Actually, you know what you want to know? For me, a dream property is very simple. It has a sauna and a mini ramp, so I can do skateboarding before I'm dead. And that's it. A nice kitchen, maybe a view, maybe, but
a nice kitchen, maybe a view, maybe in the south of
and then that's it.
France.
And then you keep going, and the pool and the little
Ding, ding,
for
ding.
my
Price,
friends and
price
the
going up,
drinks
up,
when they
up.
show up,
So
and access to the new
moral of that story
mangoes.
is everybody has a limitation of resources. We are limited by the amount of capital that we have available, the amount of land that's available, the prices of the resources. If you want the type of tiles that you want, like do you want the Calcutta marble, or do you want something even fancier with onyx or something like that, or you go get yourself a regular tile, right? So that everybody has those limitations of resources. So what you do is you come up with a budget, you come up with a plan. That's how you are able to maximize and balance your wants and your needs for that property that you want. It won't be your dream property, but it should be the ideal
Exactly.
property,
You need
right?
to. I think it's a very good definition. You need to balance your wants and your needs, and you prioritize and you for your family, and then make the best of the money that you can allocate towards your real estate budget, and find the best property you can, and that can be depending on also on the location, right? Are you going to adjust the type of property on the location or vice versa, or the location is more important for you, right? And then that becomes the ideal. I don't like the idea of Dream property is a marketing stunt. I think I rather call it an ideal property.
Yeah.
Right. So that being said, wow, there's been so much truth, Piyush. We don't rehearse those. Maybe we should.
Yeah, this podcast is not scripted. There's, we have certain topics that Julian wants to talk about, certain topics I want to talk about, and then we pretty much just go. So now to end the podcast with predictions, who's going to win the World Cup?
It's tough to call, man.
Huh?
It's tough to call.
But you may have a bit of a biased opinion, though.
Not even. No. I think because I'm French. French is playing a beautiful football. Not all the games. Like it's been a couple of games.
There you go.
Yeah. It's not always the best one that wins, and we've seen the situation with Paraguay playing against France, and there's been just one goal over a penalty kick, and maybe we could have gone all the way through as a draw, and then penalties. It is what it is, and then the team that scores the most get through, but it's not necessarily the one that plays the nicest football. So, and on top of that, I think teams are expecting France maybe with a bit more competitive. Fierce, right? Be more fierce as opposed to if we look at Norway against
England
against Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Okay,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Brazil on paper, I think they were better, but at the end, Norway was better. And Norway didn't win. I think Brazil lost because they missed a penalty kick. They missed a face-off with Hendrik and the goalkeeper. And so many things can happen. So it's very, very tough to call. Who would I like to see win?
Mm-hmm.
Always going for the underdog. I like that. I like little teams. I was pumped by Cape Verde.
Oh yeah.
Against Argentina, I was like, oh my god, those guys are having a party right now. Actually, I heard that they went back to their country and everybody was cheering for them as if they won the World Cup. As they should. I love that, So I think I would be happy to see a small team win, like Norway. Who else is in there? Like Morocco as well. I wouldn't mind seeing them take it. They've been pretty good, very serious, building the team up for a couple of years, a decade now.
Yeah. Morocco they put in a lot of money into their team.
Belgium would be awesome. I was cheering for Portugal. It's crazy as it may sound. I'm not a Ronaldo fan, but I think they have a fan. They've been pretty unlucky over the years with the World Cup, but in their teams they have so many killers, so many assassins, man. Like Neves, Vitinha, Leo Félix, Mendes, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Ramos. The team is, and they lost.
Stacked. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll see. At the end of the day, no injuries on pitch, and a fair ref, and then may the best win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some goals, some good entertainment.
Fingers crossed. Norway makes it past England. The odds don't look like it. Odds are in England's favor, so that should be an interesting game. And let's see how far FIFA takes Argentina. Right?
Unfortunately, some conspiracy.
I have to put that in there.
But yeah, we'll see. England might be cool for them to win too. It's just that
Is
they
it coming
curse
home, England? Is
themselves.
it? Huh?
They curse themselves as soon as they start to say it's coming home. As soon as they're
That's what I'm
saying this, it's over. It's not going home. So maybe they're not going to say it this time, and he will be going there. We'll see.
It's like the Canucks fans saying we want the cup. This is our year, and then every year we get disappointed, right? That's the equivalency I see.
Yeah. So time will tell. Well, Pierce, it's been a pleasure like always.
It has
Well,
been. Go Canada. This FIFA has been freaking amazing.
and comment, and if we say stuff you don't like, just comment, because maybe we might be full of it. Subscribe, like, and let's go.
All right, everyone.
Take care. Have a
See
good
ya.
one. See you.